Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 118.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
Hello, guys. Considering today's episode, sometimes I'm thinking we should call this Where in the World is Jay Massey? So what we're going to do is something we've done before, as you guys are getting familiar with, I'm sure. I go around talking from time to time, and when I get the opportunity to do that, I definitely enjoy it, love to record it, and occasionally I say things in a different way that helps the audience understand the concepts, and most importantly, helps you guys understand the concepts so that you can go out there and use them and become bigger, better, better investors, as we have always said. So this is the case for this particular episode. Is I was up in Sacramento, and we were having a very similar conversation around raising capital. And for some of you, you can't hear it enough. Others of you, you're like, I know how to do that, right? Well, either way it goes, hopefully you find that golden nugget of wisdom. Remember, you only need one new idea to make this episode worth it, and I do hope you find it. So let's get started.
Hello. Excellent. How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
Oh, that was weak.
How are you?
No, seriously, how are you doing?
Awesome.
Yeah, good. And why is that? Because I'm here. That's not a good enough reason. Can you switch the computer?
Yes.
We don't need PCs around here anymore. Sorry. Happen to be an Apple guy. Who's Apple with me? Yes? Who's wrong? I see PC. Okay, just checking. I'm messing with you guys. I'm glad you're here. Who's never seen me like in person so that I can... Oh, Jesus. Okay, and who has? Okay, excellent. So, for those of you who have, because there are so many who haven't, I need your help. Are you willing? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Excellent. For those of you who have, I want you to, by a round of applause and noise that you can make, tell the ones that have never seen me how much fun they're about to have right now. 1, 2, 3, go. Now they're like, why are they so excited? What is going on? Well, let me ask you this question. Because I don't know, I don't see him at the moment, but there was a gentleman that I was talking to before we got started, and I was like, I think most people they already know all the people that they need to know. This is weird. There we go. All the people that they need to know to get every deal that they're thinking about doing done. They just don't have the right context. Okay. Oh, no, don't do it that way. Thanks, though. It's all good. It's the Mac way. We got to do it that way. So, there we go. Perfect. So, and I think that a lot of people need to just understand and have a different context for the content so that they can go out there and generate a completely different result than what they've had before. And because most of you have no clue who I am or any of that thing, instead of me taking up a lot of minutes, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play a short video. Are you ready? A short video that hopefully you'll be loud enough, you'll be able to hear in the back. That'll give you some context to understand where I'm coming from so that you can understand that, well, you'll see.
How I got into real estate, it's rather an interesting story. It's not typical. It wasn't because I woke up one day and said, hey, I can't wait to be a real estate investor. For me and my wife, it was kind of different. A few short years ago, I was a financial planner doing financial planning stuff, and I enjoyed that. I love helping people. That's what I learned from being a financial planner. I also learned that I could take something that is perceived to be complicated and make it simple. Well, that was good. Some of the challenges, though, was that my wife, when she's pregnant, she has a condition known as hyperemesis. And if you've never heard of that, I don't blame you, because I hadn't heard of it until it happened. We were in a situation that we were unfamiliar territory, all of a sudden, immediately. It simply means she couldn't eat or drink while pregnant. She almost died a few times, and I was freaking out. And one day, because I was freaking out, I went to try to blow off steam, and I went to play volleyball. While playing volleyball, well, I jumped high, and I landed on a guy's head and punctured my lung. And that made it worse. I have asthma, and I developed pleurisy. Together with the drug interaction, I was unable to walk and talk simultaneously without fainting. So all of this was going on, and a friend came to me and said, "You should become a real estate investor." I'm like, really? That did not make sense. But I listened, I went, and I'm glad I did. Even the way we started, we had a credit score of 398, couldn't put $75 together, but I didn't let what we didn't have stop us. It was one of the first times I've ever made a decision like that. Since then, getting started in real estate, we've been able to do hundreds of transactions in many different states and been able to help lots of people, lots of families provide clean, safe, affordable housing. We provide jobs, and we've got commercial property and international interests now, and it's just amazing what's possible when you begin to believe. And that's kind of, I think, what I want to say, is that maybe now it's time for you to begin to believe, because you never know what you're going to be doing. You don't know that you could meet the very person that is your role model. You don't know whom you're going to be able to impact. But here's what I do know. Your story's not over. Take it one day at a time. Because you don't know who you can become until you're forced into a situation to try. I just wanted to feed my family. That's all my goal. I just want to eat. I want to make sure my kids eat. I want to make sure that we have, occasionally get to go have some fun, get to go do some things. I don't think that's asking for too much. But now it's turned into more. I've been able to help lots of people, either one-on-one or our group sessions. I've been able to help people get their first properties. I've been able to help people get their first single-family houses, multifamily houses, and many have even invested with us in various different capacities. A few years ago, I promise you, I would have never had that thought, that this would be what I was doing. But it is. I guess it's worth beginning to believe.
Awesome. So, now, what I want to say to you is, if you had a credit score of 398 and couldn't put $75 together, was squatting a bank-owned property, most importantly, that your spouse was unable to eat or drink and you yourself could not walk and talk, how many of you would go, I know, I need to become a real estate investor? Obvious choice. What else would I do? I'm telling you, when I say this, I did not wake up. I don't. Okay, let me also underscore this by saying I don't necessarily like real estate. I like the benefits that real estate can provide. Does that make sense? If spoons provided the same benefits, do you realize that today we'd be talking about spoons? That's what we'd be talking about. I could care less about the walls. I could care less about the floor and all this other stuff, all the systems that run real estate. Okay? Now, because of time, I'm going to talk fast. I talk fast anyway. There's more, the information that I am going to share with you today, I normally do at least, if I got my choice, it's a 2-day thing. I got it really fast. All right? I'm going to do my best. Now, those who have seen me before know that even 2 days sometimes isn't enough, especially once we start asking questions. We'll get to that too. But would you agree with me that there's at least one thing that I might have learned on the way that could possibly help you where you are today? At least one. That's all you need. Understand this. I don't care how far you drove today, how long you stood in traffic. If you're still here, arms crossed, like, what is this guy going to teach me? Probably nothing with that attitude. And let me tell you something else while I'm at it. Understand, I have a habit occasionally of offending people. What that means is it's not my problem. Are we clear? Because my goal is to wake you up. Because when your family is on the line, newsflash, it is. You need something to wake you up. I was asked once, hey Jay, if all that didn't happen to you, would you have done what you have done? The answer is absolutely not. Why? Because I was too afraid to disturb the status quo. And unfortunately for many people here in this room tonight, staring at me, you're way too comfortable. You're way too comfortable to use the information that I'm about to give you. Information that individuals in this room have used to literally raise hundreds of thousands and possibly millions of dollars, because I just haven't had time to catch up with them because I don't know. But I know they've been using it to go out there to buy real estate in your own backyard. I know I've used it to raise tens of millions of dollars. I know I've taught many people to use this, even in foreign countries, and it works. Not because of anything other than you're working with people, not banks. Banks are not people. They are not logical. And I'm sure you already know that. And yeah, there's probably some bankers in the room, right? I told you. At the end of the day, a banker gives you the money when you don't need it. If I'm wrong, please say no. They give me the money every time I need it. No, when you need it is when they say no. After it's perfect and everything is working, they're like, yeah, sure, we'll give it to you. Wonderful. Where were you 7 months ago when I was trying to make this into what it is today? Have you no vision? No, we just got money. That's it. I need people with vision. People have vision. And learning to access the resources of others is something that everyone must do. I don't care who you are today. You could be sitting here right now, 20 million flush, and that's fine. And I'm still talking to you the same way because you don't have enough money to achieve the dreams that you are after. That's why you're in the room. You're still looking for more. Everybody runs out of their own resources in some way, shape, or form. I just got the gift of finding that out really early because I couldn't eat. So I had to find a way. See, unfortunately, none of you have had that joy of going, will I eat today? And if you have, you're with me right now. You're like, yes, please, I have, and I want that to stop, and soon. And I understand that. And that's what we're going to go through is the same system I've been using for years to be able to do those types of things, to gain access to the resources of others. There are 4 primary categories. How many? 4. 4 primary categories required of resources of others that you're after. You're after other people's knowledge, time, money, and credit. Knowledge, time, money, and credit. That's it. Now, I should also preface this because I'm in Northern California and y'all got lots of good schools up here. How many of you are willing to admit that you have at least 1 degree? Okay, how many? Let's see, let's have a quick competition. Who's got 2? 3? 4? Okay, I was like, how far are we going to go? I was like, oh my goodness. All right, so here's another place where I typically offend people. I call degrees receipts. Okay, I have a degree too. It's a PhD, public high school diploma. Who's with me? Excellent, thank you. That is all that is required. That's what I want to be clear about. All right, so if you're like, wow, the reason I bring that up is because occasionally what I might say sounds too simple. That's too simple. It can't work. That's too simple. That's not how I heard it. Okay. Did you at least try how you heard it? No. Well, then it doesn't matter how you heard it. The only thing that matters is what did you do with what you did hear. And if you did nothing with it, I'm suggesting you try something simple. Right? And again, just to get this out of the way, I think the major thing that's stopping most of us is that you're just afraid. And we're all addicted to looking good. And the reason that that's a huge problem is because there are 2 things you cannot do simultaneously. You cannot learn and look good at the same time. I have 4 children. The youngest of which is 3. As he walks around and runs around the house, there are many, many times where he does not look good because he is walking and he is 3. But let me ask you this. When he falls, because it happens a lot, does he stay on the ground and say, you know what? I just can't do this walking thing, so I'm not going to do it. This walking thing doesn't work. I see all these other people walking, but you know what? It just doesn't work. I quit. Does he say, you know what? I know what I need. I need another 3-day seminar over a weekend, because if I go to that seminar, they're really going to teach me how to walk this time. Is that does he say that? No. Why not? Because you don't learn to walk overnight. You don't learn the skill set of walking overnight. You're not going to learn everything that I'm going to give to you today overnight. However, there are many things that you'll be able to take to begin to implement tonight so that you have the ability to see a different tomorrow. Does that make sense? Yep. However, if you choose not to use them, whose fault is that? Ours. Not mine. Because there are many people in the room. There is much seed being sown and scattered. Some of you are in the perfect position to take it, run with it, and make it yours. Lamont is one such person. Lamont, stand up. I've known Lamont 3 years. 3 years. And the first time I met him, how many deals had you done? And so in 3 years, I'm just curious because I don't know. He's like, houses are boring now. I'm ready for apartment buildings. Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And what did you just put under contract? Exactly. Thank you. Candace is another such person. Candace, stand up. And 3 years as well. I'm just curious, how many deals? What's that? Yeah, they were in the same room, in fact. That's right. How many deals had you done when I first met?
At that time, none, and I had made you a promise that within 30 days I would put in my first offer, and I put in 3 days before the 30 days, I wanted to throw up.
Excellent. And now, how many?
Oh, God. I mean, hundreds.
It's like, why bother counting?
Yeah.
Why bother counting? It's part of who you are. Do you understand what I'm saying? Were there other people in that room with you at that time?
Yeah.
Are those
actually
people's...
about 100 people, and you said, in a year from now, 90% will be gone. What I heard was, cool, I just have to not quit, and I keep 90% of you.
Yeah, pretty much. That's unfortunately true. Thank you very much. Now, here's my point. Yes, give them a round of applause. I don't know why they come back. It's the same stuff. But they're here. So maybe there's something different. But that should also be a message for you. Because you can't just be the right person, at the right place at the right time. You got to be the right person. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And some of you aren't the right person yet. Some of you have that question in your head. Hey, Jay, will this work for me? And my answer to you is no. Because the person you are today isn't capable of using what we're about to give you. So you can't just have an expert tool. You must know how to use it expertly. Which means you must become an expert in the middle. And remember, every master was once a disaster. Okay? And that's okay. You gotta start somewhere. Once you start, stay started. Okay? And that's one of the hardest things to do. Because it doesn't feel good. Because you know you're not looking good. And you don't want that feeling that comes with looking stupid. And you hate it. You hate it so much that even though you know what's over there is so great. I heard a definition once of what hell is. Would you like to hear it?
Yep.
Sure. You won't like it. Hell is simply to meet the person you could have been. Think about that. I don't want to meet that person. So therefore, I push myself. Sometimes more than I should, but that's great. I push all the time because I want to know. I got to find out. And it doesn't satisfy me anymore to just go, okay, well, that probably won't work. No, let's go find out. Let's go test it. And the information I'm about to share with you has been tested. It's been tested by many people across many countries, from many different nationalities. You don't have to be bald black to make this work. Are we good? All right. The first thing that I want to share with you that's very, very clear is that once you understand that you got 4 primary categories, that's knowledge, time, money, credit, you got to understand that everybody looks at the world through their own lenses. It's the concept that I call investor identity. Most people call it investor profiles. And, when you get into commercial real estate, who's the commercial real estate people in here? Okay, well, hopefully I'll have a pass because I'm about to offend somebody. It's just, I have the hardest time with most of them, not all, because I don't have a whole bunch of letters after my name. I don't fit the normal bill of what they expect, and it happens a lot. And I always experience it in commercial real estate. I don't know, maybe I just, I'll stroll up to a closing like this because I'm just like, whatever, you just need my signature. You don't care what I'm wearing. You want my money. My money doesn't have to be dressed up. Why do I? Anyway, these are the things that go through my head. I don't know, maybe your head is different. But, and so my point here is understand whom you're dealing with. And understand, a popular internet term is a customer avatar. Another way of looking at it is know your customer. It's a basic business thing that I wasn't taught. I just learned it street knowledge. So I'm going to relay it to you the same way I understand it. Is that okay? Yep. Okay. How many of us are familiar? Now remember, we're talking about an investor identity. You are that primary investor I'm talking about first. How many of us are familiar with a store by the name of Walmart? Right? Excellent. How many of us are familiar with the store by the name of Target? You know Target? Yep. Red Circle Boutique? Yep, absolutely. And how many of us love Nordy's, also known as Nordstrom? Excellent. Right? Now, does Walmart, Target, and Nordstrom, do they sell anything that's the same? Anything? What?
Target, Walmart.
Shoes, really good example. What else? Clothes, absolutely. Now, did I just say go buy your shirts at Walmart, Target, or Nordstrom? No, so don't interpret that, okay? But all I'm saying is that they all sell something similar. Here's my point. When Walmart sells a shirt, does it make money?
Yes.
When Target sells a shirt, does it make money?
Yes.
When Nordstrom sells a shirt, does it make money?
Yes.
So please stop chasing the dollar. Hey, Jay, which deal is going to make money? All of them. The question isn't, does it make money? The question is are you the person capable of serving that customer? Because when you go to Walmart, do you have an expectation? What is it?
No expectation.
Cheap. First word I hear, no matter where I go. Cheap. When I go to Walmart, you know what I expect? I expect it to break. And they're pretty good at fulfilling on their promise, aren't they? Exactly. When you go to Target, what do you expect? I heard cheap again.
Quality, reasonable price.
Quality, reasonable price. You know what? I expect a clean floor and a Starbucks. That's the difference. I'm good. When you go to Nordstrom, though, what do you expect? Great service. What else? Personal. Everything. Just call it everything, because that's what you're like, dude, you know what I'm paying for these shoes? Everything better be up in this bag, right? That's what we're talking about here. But they're all selling the same stuff. And you've got to decide which customer do you want to serve? Which one are you most uniquely skilled to serve? And I suggest to you that it has to do with how you grew up and whom you are most comfortable talking to.
Okay, so you probably weren't expecting me to be me right now. And I had to stop because I wanted to ask a simple question. How many times have you heard that concept now? I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is your first time listening, and great, thank you, glad you're here. But What I would love to hear is how you've been able to use that particular concept, or what new frameworks, what new deals, what new epiphanies are you able to have by just understanding, by approaching a real estate business, from whom you're going to serve first, and understanding your customer demographic, and i.e. avatar these days, before you start buying the properties and looking at marketplaces and all these types of things. I'd love to know what it is that you have been able to do with that information. Send us an email, info@cashflowdiary.com, and I'm not going to keep you from the rest of it. Here we go.
Be a person who sells stuff. Because people treat people nicely. But people don't like sales. How many of you love salespeople? Like, I can't wait till the next salesperson calls me. Right? Now, I bet you like studying them, don't you? That's why you raised your hand. Because that's part of what I do. I study salespeople. I study them. I will put myself in a sales situation. I will go to, anyone here sell cars? Yeah, excellent. I will go to a car lot on purpose to learn. What questions are they asking? That's the most important thing you should be paying attention to in a sales conversation, is what questions they're asking. Not what they're saying, not that they use a sharp angle close. What did they do? Was that a tie down? Is that an inverted tie down? Is that a reverse, negative reverse? What was that? No. Questions are the answers. And you see that as we talk through this. So there are two situations. There's a situation where you get to go first, or someone asks you, hey, what do you do? So here's the formula that you're going to use. So long as you continually use it and actually work with it, you will be able to generate leads starting tonight. Because I hear that normally after this, you guys like keep talking and never want to go home. Cool. So here you go. And now here's the fun part. All of you are going to be knowing what each other is doing, which is great. It's just going to make it that conversation is that much more easier. Because how many of you are willing to admit that you are naturally an introverted person, and like coming to places where you don't know people is like, too much? Guess what? Me too. You're like, Get introverted and staying that way means broke. Therefore, I learned to change because I wanted to eat. That meant I had to come and deal with people. That's you, by the way. Now, I've learned to make it fun for me, right? I've learned how to be me and still do it, and that's the most important part. So here's the formula. It's I, Candace. She's like, no, don't do that. Action verb. She's like, don't do it. Don't you know my blood pressure? If we had her hooked up like to an EKG right then, she was like, you've seen something. I know. It's I, action verb, target market, and I, action verb, target market, benefit. So they can benefit. Now, how many of you right now are wondering, why did he bother with all those colors? And that seemed complicated. Yeah, right? Because my intent is to make sure you leave here with the information retained. Studies have shown that if I use multiple colors on a white background, specifically 4, red, blue, green, and black, you'll remember more of this and be able to use it later. That's what I care about. I don't care that you remember me, I care that you remember this, because this is what's going to begin to make you money. I, action verb, target market, benefit, so they can benefit. What does that sound like? What does that mean? Someone give me a profession. Any profession, I don't care. Doctor. I show doctors how to leverage their existing KEO plans so that, how to leverage their existing KEO plans using real estate so they can finally quit worrying, will they have enough money for retirement? Give me another profession.
Investment banking.
Excellent. I show investment bankers how to actually not only use their money, but also their clients' money in new creative strategies and alternative investments outside of paper assets so they can finally be of real use to the general public. Yes.
College professor.
Excellent. I show college professors how to that. Oh, God. Are you a college professor? Okay, good. I show college professors the benefit of real knowledge applied so that they can finally help their students achieve something worthwhile.
Good for you.
Now, all I did is, do you understand? That's all. I can do this with even businesses I know nothing about. It doesn't matter. I had one lady say, I'm a clothing designer. I'm like, oh, this is going to be hard. But let's figure it out. And we did. And at the end of the day, you need a quick way. How long should that take you? Seconds. Elevator. Seconds. You can use it all the time. When someone asks you, what do you do? How many of you have been freezing going, and then or you respond and talk for like ever? You want to be able to tell people as quickly as you possibly can what it is that you do. And now you're thinking, well, Jay, what if I just met them and I don't know? Okay, here's how you handle that. When someone comes up to you like later tonight, hey, what do you do? And you're like, what did Jay say? Where's my notes? Right? And you don't know anything about them. You don't know. What do they do? You're like, that's an interesting question. Why do you ask? That's a very simple sales technique called a softening statement with a reverse. It's very simple. I just put the two together. The softening statement is, that's an interesting question. Why do you ask? Because you don't have enough information to be able to tell them yet. You don't know who they are. You don't know what benefit that you provide that might be of interest. And here's how you end this. After you go through this, you're going to say, hey, do you know anyone who might be interested? I'm using these words strategically and on purpose. Anyone who might be interested in a product or service like that. Because if they are interested, they will raise their hand. If they are not interested but know someone, they will let you know, and you'll get a referral. Always. I've now created a possibility of 2 yes situations and then 1 no situation as opposed to a yes or a no. And at the end of the day, I don't care what I get. I just need to know. And even if they say no, I got more after that to make sure I get something from that conversation. Because as an introvert, the fact that I opened my mouth was hard. I was going to get something for opening my mouth, and I was going to work until I got something because I could not bear the thought of walking away from this conversation and having to start another one. So I had to figure this out, and this is the beginning. When you get to go first, when you get to ask them first, I'm going to give you the same question that I've always used. Please don't change the words at all. None of them. Use it exactly as I'm going to say it. It's simply, have you ever considered getting involved in real estate investing? That's it. I didn't say, have you ever considered doing a real estate investment? Have you ever considered real estate? I didn't say, have you ever thought about, no, I'm telling you, words create pictures. Period. For example, I say the word school. Some of you right now are thinking about that hot teacher. Others of you are thinking about that boy, the one that threw the rock at your head. Others of you are going, they didn't play with me on the playground. And I'm thinking about my kids going to school. Words create pictures. When you use the wrong words, you create the wrong pictures. And one of the challenges that we have as communicators, because that's what you are doing, is communicating. You got to communicate your idea. What you are doing is communicating your idea. If you fail at communicating and creating the proper picture, it's your fault. This is why we pay novelists who write fiction a ton of money. It's because they create the same picture in millions of people's minds. They get paid a lot for that. Being able to know how to create a picture with words. And you do too. They just come out of here as opposed to being written. Have you ever considered getting involved in real estate investing? Those phrases there. What is the likelihood at some point that somebody considered it ever? It's pretty high. But is it possible that someone hasn't? Yes. Do you care what the answer is? No. Because you're going to respond with the same 2 most powerful words in the English language, in my opinion. And those 2 words are simply, really? Why? I don't care what they say at this point. Men in the room, this is the only time you are allowed to not listen. After you ask really why, all you're doing is listening. Ladies, don't you wish he was here tonight? My point is, really why? You're like, how can the same 2 words be used to communicate in so many different situations? So I'm going to ask you to participate with me by closing your eyes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say the same 2 words to you 7 different times. And you tell me if they don't create a different picture in your mind. Here we go. Really? Why? 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 Open your eyes. Any two the same? Different emotions each time? Same two words. My point is that when you are listening properly to what the other person says, those same two words with the correct inflections will communicate that you are listening and that you care, which is the number one fallacy of most salespeople is they don't care because they're looking at you with a $sign stamped on your head. Remember, be a person who sells stuff, not a salesperson. So when you begin to communicate, who cares? Friends. People. People care. Friends help. I'll talk to you. And that's what you've got to do. Lower the walls. The better you get at lowering the walls, the more this will work for you. Now, I'm going to give you another visual graphic example just to make my point. And it's unfortunate that she's all the way in the back of the room, but that's okay, Megan. If you could begin to make your way towards the front of the room, you are uniquely qualified for this example. And yes, I'm serious, and yes, now. Thank you. Everyone give Megan a round of applause because she doesn't know what's about to happen. Here's my point. My point is there are walls that we have, we don't even realize, and we step into this real estate communication world, and we're trying, my left over here, please. And we're trying to communicate to people, and we don't even understand the effect we're having on people. Now, how many of you have noticed in the few seconds that she's been up here that I'm a little taller? You saw that? Yeah. Is that clear? Yep. Is that obvious? Mm-hmm. Okay, and that's why she's uniquely qualified for this particular example. It's because whether you realize it or not, men, this is huge for you. We men, we tend to talk to people straight on and look. What did she do?
Backed up.
She backed up. You know why?
She's got
I'm huge in relation, and it's intimidating. She's like, but all you're doing is talking to her, and you're not thinking about it. And heaven forbid, should you get excited and start moving your hands? She's like,
It's happened to me so many times.
Yes, she's not hearing you. She's like, oh my God, please. She can't hear you. She just can't hear you. She may be interested, but she can't hear you because her walls are up. She's thinking about something completely different. Her eyes are glued on you just to make you know how like a prey watches predators come after it? That's what's really happening here. And just understanding, watch this. By talking to her this way, it's more comfortable for her. And that's what I've got to be conscious of. I have to be conscious that I'm taller, that the news media tends to portray tall, bald, black guys a certain way. I have to be wary of that. So you don't see me in a hoodie, do you? All I'm saying is I've got to use everything I have to my advantage. And if I know this and I see, I got to recognize that and go, okay, well, I'm going to just sit back and be this way and talk to her. Notice the difference in the tone of my voice. Did you hear that? That's also, all of this is to get her to treat me as a person, to not be afraid, to not have walls up, because walls mean no sale. That's what it means. You've got to be aware of that. Same thing, the reverse is true. Ladies, most of you talk this way. Guys are already uncomfortable because you're looking at us in the eye and we're not wanting to do that. Okay? When men talk, it'll be this way a lot, and we do the side thing. It's weird. That's just what we do. Okay? But yet, I want him to look at me. And we're like, no. It's uncomfortable. And in a sales situation, you need to understand that because you will break rapport, and then we don't think you care, you're not listening, and vice versa. And when you fail at that, everything else, it doesn't matter. But you got to understand these little nuances all the way through so that you never get perceived as a salesperson. But you're a person who sells stuff. Okay? Those things are important. Give her a round of applause. Thank you for being a great teacher. Now, the next thing you need to understand is everybody that you're talking to that you want to invest in your deal isn't a potential for your deal. You think everybody, just because they were unfortunate enough to actually stop and listen to you, that you got to tell them everything. Wrong. This is the order in which you take down a deal, and it happens every time, especially when you have meetings like this. And it annoys the tar out of me, to be honest with you, because it just means you don't have context yet. Here's my point. I, M, T, and D. That is the order from top to bottom. It starts with you, the investor. The investor has an identity. Then it goes to the marketplace. The marketplace has an identity. Then it goes to the team, and then it goes to the deal. The most interchangeable part is the deal. Does Coke really care where it sends bottles? No, that's the deal for them. But it's the same team doing the same work in many different locations. So is your real estate business when you learn the language and communicate that way. Therefore, until someone has passed these tests, they're not a lead. They're at best a suspect, maybe a prospect. Then they're a lead. Because you don't know why they would or wouldn't do anything. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. You've heard it before. And you think everybody loves real estate for your reasons. That's the problem. They don't. They love them for their reasons. And you spend way too much time talking, therefore you violate what I call the 70-30 rule. 70-30 rule means they talk 70% of the time in the conversation. And if they're not talking, you are, and that's the problem, because it means you are not listening. Period. Therefore, you can't find out. You're having to guess. Well, here's why they'll like the deal, because it's a great ROI. Wrong. You think that, if it's a 7% ROI versus a 9% ROI, clearly everyone wants the 9% ROI. Wrong. You think that's the only benefit in the deal. There's cash return on investment. We heard that earlier today. There's total return. There's internal rates of return. And there are other intangibles that are a benefit that you're not even marketing, using, or leveraging. And yet you think 50-50 means you think when someone gives you the money that you're going to split it 50-50. Absolutely wrong. Let me explain why. It's simply supply and demand. How many of you, now you've all got to participate in this one for it to actually work. And I'm going to ask you to do something that is socially uncomfortable, especially in the U.S. We're going to talk about money, specifically yours. So here's what I need. I need you to raise your hand if you yourself have or know someone who has access to at least $1 US. Okay, good. No, hold on. Keep your hand up. Look around. No more saying there's no money. Okay, keep your hand up. Now, keep your hand up if you are the person who knows how to use money in such a way to buy a single family house. And you've done it in the last year. Excellent. Look around. Less hands, huh? Keep your hand up if you've also done it with multifamily buildings. Keep your hand up if you've done it with at least 100 units. Keep your hand up if you've done it with at least 200 units. What are we beginning to notice? There isn't. Experience. There is a supply and demand imbalance. There is way more money than there is experience. Period. Money chases those who have the experience. You wonder why you haven't gotten a deal done. It's because you're trying to do your first deal for a profit. That's your problem. You do your first deals for experience, and then later you profit. Hear me clearly. You do your first deals for experience, not profit. Then later you get to profit from your experience. Do you realize I'm still, quote unquote, earning money from the first deal I did? Which, by the way, was 6 years ago. We've been able to do hundreds of transactions, a little over 300 units in multiple different states, a cell phone tower, one commercial property, and gosh darn it, I'm building a resort too. 6 years because I'm lucky.
Bonus time.
Thank you.
All right. So you're probably wondering, bonus time, what does that mean? It's a game that we play when we are having a live event. It's very simple. I picked it up for some friends, and what's interesting is it really stresses the concept that you only need to get one new idea from every time, every event, every book, everything that you are going and using out there to develop yourself personally. So here's how it's done. When you reach bonus time, first of all, it's assumed that you do. But bonus time is when you hear that one idea, that one reason, that one thing that you know that you needed to hear that makes the event totally worth it. Whether it cost you $1, whether you flew 10,000 miles or it cost $10,000, doesn't matter. The point is you heard the thing that you say, now it was worth it. I do hope that there was something in this particular episode that gave you and put you into your own version of bonus time. I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Until next time.